Okay. There we go. So sorry, guys. Just earlier, I had some problems with my microphone prior to the stream, and I think I got it all set up okay. But it was, oh man, it was causing me some real problems. If you noticed in the last stream, there was quite a bit of there was a buzzing sound that was being picked up within the stream, and so I made sure to fix that for this stream. So sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to have it muted initially. It was just the fact that whenever I was testing everything, messed up. So starting from the tippy top, this is Hard Drive 32. It's a indie YouTube channel dedicated to make indie games, specifically those that are reviving nostalgia of 32-bit generation of games, such as PlayStation, Sega Saturn, even Dreamcast to some extent. I really just want to make games that have the funky, positive, kind of cheery personality of those titles, and I'm also interested in working with new technologies, so not only will we be making 32-bit gen inspired games, we'll probably bring in modern techniques like ray tracing or new particle engines, or it'll be a cool mishmash of both the new and the old, and hopefully that'll be really surprising and awesome. So if you like what you see today, if you like what you see on the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Say hello, we'll get connected, and you'll be able to keep up to Hard Drive 32's latest developments. And then on to today's topic. Today, I'd like to study the work of Hideki Ishikawa. He's an illustrator for Capcom. He's done Megaman, which ripping some Megaman close here, but Megaman, Pokemon, Powerstone, a lot of really cool games. He has a very shape-based style, like his characters have a very strong silhouette, as well as they're very just striking in their colors. So before I just keep on talking about this without actually, letting you guys see it, let me switch to my desktop. And let me show you some examples of Ishikawa's artwork. Kind of what I'm referring to here. Let's see here. There's so many good ones. We'll start with the Mega Mans. The Mega Man's a Mega Man legend. Alright. And we'll probably, so I'm going to do my best on stream today to replicate one of these pieces of artwork. So one of the best ways to learn how an artist works, or to learn their style, is to actually try to replicate said style. So for today's stream, there's going to be a lot of me trying to, replicate this Mega Man. And so, like I was saying earlier, really strong silhouette here with the character itself. He's a robot, obviously. But I want you to take note of just see how he's got his robot forms are very simple volumes, a sphere for his shoulders, cylinder for his forearm, and you may be like, oh, duh, he's a robot. He's big metal parts. He's gonna be rounded like that. Well, check out. Let me pop open just another one of his character designs here. There you go. So even when it's a human character, he loves to do kind of the cylinders of his characters. Her hair, she has a really striking hairstyle that's pretty crazy shape, and so that's his thing, is he always has really distinct shapes that he has for his characters. And I would love to sometime research why or how he comes up with these shapes, because he might have a particular reason why he has these shapes. Like, for example, her hair, it's bushy, goes out into these wild formations. Maybe he's just hey, she's a lady, but she doesn't mind, getting dirty and doing things. She's kind of a little bit wild in that way. So he made her hair wild. That's just that's a theory. But let me pop open here another great example. So these ones you've seen that I'm showing you right now, they are from Mega Man Legend, which I'm going to be pulling a lot of inspiration from, not just on the 2D side of things, but also on the character modeling end of things. I really love how the character models and environments turn out in Mega Man Legends. Alright, so here's another one. I believe this is from Breath of Fire 4. One that I've been really meaning to play. There we go. Yeah. But really cool striking design with this character here. With this, you could tell, like even without playing the game, I can tell this person is from some sort of like, you know, ancient race, because he did these tribal touches, but they're very refined tribal touches, and the outfit itself isn't a typical outfit. And the fact that it's all one piece, you got this strange billowing out with the base of it. All of it says like kind of ancient civilization, and the outfit for it is seemingly pulled from a lot of Eastern clothing. So kind of got an Eastern clothing flair. Also a mix of this tribal here with his colored bands that are on him. And obviously he's not human. He's got a giant eye on his forehead. But striking characters. Very striking characters. Very stripped down. Very sophisticated, because there's just not a lot of elements here. But what are there tell you the story of the character, and it's just so clean. And part of the reason why I want to study the style is because I'm a graphic designer. And I really admire work like this, because it's much harder to remove things from visual artwork and still convey the story or the message to your audience. And so I just really admire it. Ishikawa's artwork. Let's see if there's one other just fun one I can show you guys. And then we'll choose one of these here and we'll try to replicate it. And you know, one thing I did try to do is I did try to find his concept work from these games. There wasn't a lot out there. These are older titles, so it's kind of hard to come across this artwork. But this was like probably from one of the early pencil sketches he made for Megaman Legends. And this is what's known as a character sheet. They probably use this to make the 3D model for Mega Man. And this is what we're going to have to do for our character in the eventual prototype game I'm working on. But yeah, alright, so to begin, my goal is for this week, I'm going to study this guy's artwork. Probably going to study it next week as well, while I finish up the bolt tutorial. So let's start with something simple here. Alright, we'll start with this Mega Man. So what I'm going to do... Remember, right, his name is Volnut in Mega Man Legend. It's been a long while since I played Mega Man Legend. Boom, nice big thing. So you're gonna be like, I'm gonna start out honestly by straight up just tracing over this, but not tracing. The way you're gonna see me trace over it is very different than just straight up tracing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trace over the volumes, the larger 3D shapes of this character, because I want to get an idea for how he came up with this design. And so first I'm going to trace over it and kind of just do a simple recreation of this. And then after I do this one, I will move on to one where I'm not tracing over it, and I'm going to try to replicate it. And slowly over as the week goes along, I'm going to try to have less training wheels on my artwork while I'm practicing. And at the end, will do my best to say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a image of, say, just a random person in streetwear clothing and try to replicate them in the style of Ishikawa. So this can be some early training, just kind of getting ahead of this creator here, get to know what's up. All right. So come on, thing. Go. Great. Okay. So let's see here. Zoom in while I'm working on it here. Volume of his head here, and then typically with drawings you do a line to indicate the bridge of the nose as well as where they're looking. Then, so already one thing I'm noticing, just sketching this here. He has almost like a very childlike proportion to his face, and even though you shouldn't be able to see this left ear, he does have that ear exposed. And then also, if you were to be honest, the hairline of a normal human would probably fall around here. And then this would be about the nose of the average person. I should say even a little higher. And this would be the mouth dividing those two. But if you noticed, he's got a tiny nose, and his mouth is at the point that most other people would put the bottom of the nose. So that's already something really interesting, where he's de-emphasized the nose significantly, moved the placement of the mouth to be a little bit up, and all of this is in service of he wants those big expressive eyes. So that's already far different than human proportions. So this would be like typical hairline for a person. So whenever I do try to replicate the style, I'm gonna remember that the typical person's hairline is honestly how I should track where the eyes are. And then this would be a great place for the bottom of the nose, but for this particular artist, that's actually where I'm going to use the bottom of the eyes. All right, next thing about a human, as far as proportions go, let me draw a little side head here. Just show you guys human proportions as far as eyes or faces go. Sorry guys, this ain't gonna be, I'm not a perfect artist, but that's for certain, but I'm gonna try my best here. So what I was gonna educate you guys on is, if this was a nose here, let's do this. The eyes would be half of this nose width. So this gap right here, this half of the nose is the gap between where your eyes would begin as well. So you would have like eyes roughly around here. It's like, there's your pupil, and eyes, and mouth. Boop. There you go. And you'd have hairline. And then your ears follow the curvature a bit, just past here. So this would be like ear, ear. And then down from here, about your edge of your eyes is a perfect place for where you want to have your your neckline and so forth. So here, what have you, this weirdo human thing I've made here. Let's add hair. Not working for accuracy here, but I just want to show you how crazy different this was. How small these eyes are in comparison to what I'm about to make. Okay, so got ear here, which it has a really nice distinct. I love this. So I love how distinct he has made the ear shape. Okay, he's what's oddly enough, he's not spared any detail whenever it comes to the inner workings of the ear here. And also, if you look, the chin line proceeds right into the ear canal. Compare that to like a human ear. So like, don't worry guys, I clean my ear. So if you look, the chin of a human, a normal human, reaches this point where it turns to be a little more vertical, and then it goes upwards for a gap, and that's where the beginning of your ear is, in the ear canal. This guy has chosen to run the edge of the jawline right into the ear canal. This thing would be so, this Megaman would look so weird in real life, because his jawline connects right into his eardrum. Okay, so nice big ears. Let's do that. We'll make him a big old shape. Okay, but there's still, what's funny is these eyes of his, he still has depth to him. It looks like he's still working in a 3D space with them. Okay, hairline is like, we'll see, hairline is like up here. That's crazy. And we'll draw back over this with the smaller details. But let's just really quickly try to design on the volumes. I'm gonna wait on the hair because that hair is kind of complex, and I just want to feel still pretty motivated. Okay, so we got our body here. And what do we got here? Top of the body is typically a cylinder. What's kind of nice about this, he's kind of giving himself a little bit of man boobies. Instead of... So when people first get started out, and I'm the same way, you can... Actually, let's draw this here. You can draw... This is so terrifying. You can draw the torso as a circle. The problem with drawing a torso as a circle is it has no planes on it. It has no hard definitions of where it is in 3D space. Versus like a cube, you've got these, you can tell which direction the cube is facing thanks to all these hard lines. So instead of drawing, the reason why this applies here is instead of drawing Mega Man's chest as just a circle, he chose to do a cylinder. If you look here, his chest is a cylinder. That's kind of a nice in-between of doing either something with real obvious planes and doing a circle. So it's not quite a circle, it's not quite a cube. He instead did a cylinder. So, you know, like this person, instead of doing it that way, I would maybe do something like this. Yeah, I'd make a cube for the chest. And that gives you just a better idea of like the facing. Oof, this thing's so off. You know what I'm saying? That drawing a circle is less information to you as an artist in comparison to like a cube, something with real definite edges. And he did something really interesting here, which is he did instead a cylinder. There's like a nice in between. We got a literal, this is a shoulder, not a shoulder blade, but in a cube. This is all kind of following human proportions. His bicep is a little bit shorter than a normal person's. It's almost very, the dimensions of his character here is very similar to that of a child. So like a human child. And he doesn't do this for all characters. After this, we'll look at maybe his work on Powerstone, which has a lot of adult characters, and they do have proportions that are different than that of a child. So it looks like he did a cube for the fist. So let's see here, and even though I can't see it, I know it'll be about that. Wherever it falls back here, we won't worry about it for the moment. Instead, let's get this giant Mega Man helmet. Ooh. One thing I've got to practice with, and I'm not doing a lot, is you want to use your entire arm when drawing. Leads to straighter lines. Okay. He doesn't have... This is probably like a pill shape. This belly of his right now it's kind of like a cylinder. And then here, okay? So he did what's kind of cool here for the hips. Is he did a what's called the bucket shape. So very common shape for drawing the hips is to do like a reverse bucket that goes wider. Let's see here. Sorry, creepy human. You know, it's like a bucket that gets wider as you go further down the hips. And if it's a lady you're drawing, then you make the bucket opening even wider. And then from that bucket, you need to have the part where your legs socket into your hip joints. So for him, he's got a mechanical bucket here. Yeah, so like we followed that line out. That's the bottom of his bucket. Boom. And if you look, that's actually a really good point where he put the dimensions here for the bottom of the bucket. And then looks like kind of a circle here for this joints. Another cylinder. Goes up, over. It gave Megaman very big calves. Megaman is not skipping leg day. Those are some huge calves. Which looks like 1.5 the times the size. So usually it's the reverse with a human. Your thighs are thicker. Not with robots. Robots got thicker thicker calves. Okay. Also, perspective-wise, I don't think this is quite accurate. If you look... No, this could be okay. It could be okay. I'd have to see the 3D model of this, but it looks like these calves muscles aren't quite cylinders. They look to be a little bit more squashed to be wider. As for the feet, those feet sure are something. He looks like he's wearing slippers or sandals. Interesting. I'm just looking at the shape for how he did these feet. It's interesting. Because it's like, this would be almost where the human foot would traditionally fall. What he's got here. But he's made his feet very long. And he probably made his feet, you know, we'll talk more about this character design afterwards. I'm realizing a lot of stuff about this character design as I work on it. Very interesting. I wonder why he did a couple of things here. And while I'm doing this here, just going through and just getting these basic shapes in, the shape of a character in a game is very important. Take for example in fighting games, a great one being Street Fighter. Street Fighter, the characters themselves have massive hands and feet. And the reason they have massive hands and feet is they want the players to be able to see when the other player is striking or trying to hit them. And so their actual feet is just the most like terrifying thing. There's plenty of online jokes about it, but how you design a character is even important to how that character plays in a game. Oops. Okay, so now let's go ahead and for a second here. I haven't touched the head, but I will. As far as the hair goes, I haven't touched the hair. Let's turn this off for a second and look at what Razor's shape is. So, I'm going to go ahead and put his hands in. 1 second here. I'm going to put his hands in here. Which are also just like a collection of cylinders. Whatever. You can worry about it afterwards. Okay, let's turn this off. Boom. That's our basic, you know, volumes that this Mega Man has. And one thing, if you notice, is just how much this character is a how much this character is kind of shaped like a wedge. So if you look here, he is thinner on top and then way wider on the bottom. So like going down like this. He just gets he gets wider and wider and wider as he goes along. And thinner and thinner and thinner at the top. And I'm really curious why they decided to do that. It's a great looking design. I mean, one consideration I have for it is just the fact they want him to look young. They want him to be kind of like thin and light on the top. That makes sense. And the other thing could be, hey, we want him to be a little bit thick and chunky because he's a robot, so he needs to be thick. However, if they made his upper body thick, then perhaps from the game's perspective, the camera, when the camera's behind the character, you would have a hard time seeing what's in front of you if your robot is big and clunky. I don't know if that's why they did it. I'm just curious. But I feel like there's one other thing I was going to show you guys. We'll keep working here. We'll keep working here real quick. Okay, so done that. Now let's go ahead. We're going to reduce this again. Okay. And let's get those secondary forms in here. Things like the little details that I didn't include the first time. Alright. This is almost like final line work kind of thing. So, just so I can get an idea of what it's like to draw this guy. Make sure it's nice and light. Boom. Okay. All right. And one second, guys, before I continue. I want to look at this line work. See if he has outlines. Yeah, he's got a lot of outlines. Something to note, you know, the character design has a lot of outlines, which means they want him to stand out from backgrounds, really pop. Okay. How are we doing time-wise? Cool. We'll keep going here. Part of me doing this is I just kind of want to get in the flow of how this guy draws, get practiced. I'm worried mine's gonna be almost too clean because what the heck? It doesn't look like my pin pressure is coming through. Let's see here. Let's do a big test here. Yeah, it's not. What in the heck? Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure. Part of the problem is my my Wacom pin isn't adjusting the strength of my lines, like how thick and thin they are. And that's important because if you look at smaller portions of this drawing, there parts of his ear go from being thick to thin because of how much pressure was applied. Let's pop open my Wacom settings. Alright. See if this is on here. Oh, eraser filling. Okay. Pin. Sorry guys about this. Just want to make sure I get this right before I continue. Check if the brush settings are okay. That could be part of it. Spacing, shape dynamics, size jitter, pin pressure. Oh, we got a warning here. What's up? Yeah, I've got a pressure sensitive tablet. I wonder why it's not working.
I hate it. I hate it.
Hello there, I'm artist Aaron.
As you guys
this
listen
is
to
a
me.
quick video on how to enable pen pressure in Photoshop that you have, and you can see here if I press down lightly opacity with my pen pressure. If I turn, it could be for a couple of reasons. One is that you didn't install the driver for your tablet, and plugging it into a different port to making the tablet work with Photoshop. You want to look under your Wacom tablet properties, which can be found in your control panel, and then click on one of your pens. You probably don't have 3 pens like I do, but just click on your pen here, and then look under the Calibrate tab right here. You want to make sure that Use Windows Ink is checked, because if you uncheck Use Windows Ink and you go back to Photoshop, all of a sudden there's no.
Oh, I found my problem, guys. I solved the mystery. Bring music back on. Party's still going. Okay. So what happened was Windows Ink, which was causing me trouble last time because it it was making it right click whenever I held down. Needs to be turned on for pressure sensitivity. That's so dumb. Okay. Alright, let's try this again. Let's try this again. Mystery solving. Oh, there we go. I'm so happy. That's what was up, you guys. Great. Do a quick erase here. Let's get rolling. Let's see if I do like the pressure sensitivity I got right now. I need to make it a little gentler. That's pretty good. Okay. No, it's not. Did not even detect that. Pressure. Let's go soft. Soft. We must go softer. Turn off smoothing. Gosh darn it. Sorry guys, I gotta get this right before I continue. Okay. Just go smaller with the line work. I've got something wrong with my tablet. Oh, I do. My pen tablet, or my pen tip is gone. Oh my gosh. Guys, this is crazy. Sorry. This was not my intention of the stream to have technical difficulties. That explains so much, by the way. Oh my gosh. My whole tablet, or my whole pin's falling apart. You know, to fill the dead air, I want to say I'm currently playing through Final Fantasy VII Remake and loving it. Some of the new additions kind of bore me, and I'm a little sad that they're there. Just as far as the additional dungeons, which are just a lot of like empty fighting. But I will say, for a remake, man, it is satisfying, everything I wanted, and I'm cool with slight spoiler, the twist that part of this is part of the remake is it's a cycle, like a time loop. That's all I'm gonna say though. Sephiroth knows what he's doing. Okay, guys. Might have had it. Also, if you see a sweat on me, it's not that I'm nervous. It's just the fact that it is hot here in Missouri. And my lovely purple lights are like, they're meant for growing plants in the background. But so they produce some heat too. And they produce heat right on me. Okay. Pin, oh, pin. Work for me, my friend. Don't abandon me, pin. By the way, I have a backup pin in case this doesn't work out. At one point, I had three Wacom tablets. Not that I needed them, but they were good for travel. Alright, amigos. Let's see what happens here when I push down. Work. Oh, okay. Cool, guys. Sorry about all that. My pin almost gave up the ghost. To me working now, though. Must move faster then. Not mean for my stream to be about fixing my Wacom pen. Let's pretend I'm drawing like he did. He probably would have done the ear next. Ooh, it was close. Actually, before we do that, also, I'm really curious to see how these artists originally drew, because if you think about it, Photoshop as it is now and other sketching tool programs, I mean, it's around in the 90s, but it wasn't like incredibly, you know, not anywhere the same versatility it is nowadays. So I'm real curious to see how they got such clean artwork for these things. Could be just their fingertips were that much better, but what just happened? Oh, guys. Ever since I switched to Windows, I've been having troubles. But only because, probably because just getting used to computers again. Okay. Oh boy, that looks so glitched. There we go. Glad I saved. Okay. Always save, people. Save constantly. Save as though your life depended on it. Love this shape here. Okay. I'm gonna draw on this layer for a second here. So they did this great shape for the hair. So I said, okay. You gotta think that Megaman has this long hair of his, and he's putting it all underneath that helmet. That hair must be disgusting. You think about how much heat a computer reproduces, and this guy is just like a big computer. He brought just like the most, like, he takes his helmet off at night. It's probably just the grossest wet sweat hair. If that part of him is human. I don't even know if, like, why a robot boy needs human hair. But, yeah, I'm impressed by these luscious locks that his robo creator decided to give Mega Man. Do. We'll go for, once we finish up this head, I think we're going to take a break on Megaman and go to the coding portion for today. Yeah, this is great practice for me, just to get back in the habit of drawing digitally, even just to do these lines again, just to get back in it. Kinda got that Goku hair going on here. Little cool spikes. Alright, let's disable our base layers for a second. Oh, he's definitely not got the charm of the original, but we're going to keep working on it here. Okay, save for now. And we'll retouch this Mega Man more tomorrow and get him finished off. And for now, let's transition over to programming and practice some Unity Bolt and work on that tutorial some more. Yeah, and we got pretty far along to where I think we're working on the AI right now, and then we're in just the final steps of it. Whew. Okay. Unity Bolt platform tutorial. Cool. And before I continue on the Bolt portion of this, just want to say once again, for anyone jumping in now, this is Hard Drive 32, channel dedicated to resurrecting the appeal of 32-bit generation games by making one myself. And hopefully this inspires you guys to follow your own projects, your own ambitions. And if you want to keep up to date on anything, check the Instagram of Hard Drive 32 or YouTube channel of the same name. And like, comment, and subscribe. Let's keep going. Alright, so what we have remaining is health and damage. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, where we left off, we got most of the health and damage complete. It was just we were launching into creating the health state of the character and the damage and all sorts of things, and it was just a little too much to begin near the end of a stream. So let's see here. And number 4, create the player health state machine. From this point on, everything we do is in preparation of the next part, enemies. We won't get to test it until then, so please pay close attention. We will use a state machine instead of a flow machine for a player's health, because there will be 2 states. The player is vulnerable to damage, and after taking a hit, the player will be briefly invulnerable to the damage. Take a moment to read introductions to states and transitions in the manual. Now let's practice by creating our first state machine. Select the player object, add a new state machine component located in our bolt as well, create a new micro for it called player health, and apply the changes to the prefab. In the new state graph, there should be a single default start state. Okay, All right, let's see how far we got even on that. So we'll check or select the player. The very bottom here, we've got health, the integer one, but that's not exactly what they want. They wanted to add a component, which was a state machine. And they wanted a new macro for it. We'll put it inside Ludic macros. What was it called? Was it just called health? Player health. Okay, and we'll call it player health. Let's go ahead and name this one player controller, just so we don't confuse our flow machine. And then player health. And unlike a flow machine, which was little boats getting sent down a river, aka commands in code being sent down the river to reach your destination and execute it, a state machine is more like, what would you say, whether the boats are in or out of the water. Just kind of like on off. So in this case, hurt or unhurt. Okay, so they want us to apply the prefab, which is to say anytime player is in a level, should have our new macro. We will transform that state into our vulnerable state. Select the node to show its inspector in the graph inspector. Here you can rename start to vulnerable and add a description if you want. We can rename our graph. Gotcha. So we select it, go to graph inspector. Vulnerable can be hurt and die. See, I don't get this. I wonder why. Did I create the right thing? That's the question. Oh, okay. That's different than what? Worry about that later. Let's worry about that later. It's cute to have a description. It's unfortunate I don't know how to get to it, but that's okay. Okay. So go ahead and delete this because the way our different states work is different than that, so we don't need them. So custom event. And this is damage. Arguments 1. Instead, we'll use a custom event to handle the damage, like we did earlier for spikes and death. This event will be called damage, and take one integer argument, the amount of damage inflicted to the player. Add a custom event in the vulnerable graph, then set the argument field to 1, and the name field to damage. Essentially, we're saying the value of what this is going to do, this integer, is it's a 1, and I'm guessing the next node that we're going to add is going to make it to where it subtracts from his health. When you receive it, all we have to do is subtract this argument from the health variable while making sure the health doesn't go below 0. So there you go. So first thing it's to do is it's going to get the object variable of health, which we already defined earlier in our previous tutorial. And that was health. And then we need to subtract. Okay. And let's see where it... Okay. And then we need to do a min-max of the input. So minimum and maximum. Maximum. Inputs to float 0. So the number being 0. Float literal 0. And set variable object health. Okay. And then do I need to... Yeah, okay, so I thought. Okay. So what this is saying is get object variable, which is health, and if you remember right, health is a number, in this case an integer, and what it's going to do is look for to see if the custom event damage occurs, and it will subtract from whatever our health is, and what this will then do is a maximum inputs. I don't know what the maximum inputs. I know it's to prevent it from going below 0. Let's see how that functions. After updating the health variable, we'll check if it reaches 0, meaning the player should die. If it dies, it will send the death event that we implemented earlier for spikes. This will reload the current level like before. If it doesn't die, we'll trigger a hurt animation in the animator. We will also trigger a hurt custom event, which we'll use to transition to our invulnerable state in the next step. Okay. Okay. 0, 4. Okay. So this is saying like, hey, if you reach 0 health, then go down one path. This is looking for a true false. And false in this case is if A equals B. So if our health equals 0, you go down the false route. Or no, it's a little bit different. It's if. Yeah, custom event. Trigger custom event. If. And self is like what object has the event, and you know, our player actually has the death event if I remember right. Speed, health. I bet he does somewhere in his player controller, maybe. Okay. And then animator, set trigger. Name, hurt. And custom event trigger. Okay. Ooh. Oh. Trigger custom event. Hurt. And the reason why we're adding this custom event trigger is that we can create the invulnerable state. But this first one here, animator set trigger, that's saying go ahead and play the animation of hurt. So those are actually, even though they have the same name of hurt and hurt, this hurt, this first one, that's the name of the animation hurt. The second one is the creation of a state of hurt, which will then reference to make him invulnerable. So here you go. Back in the root state graph, create a new flow state by clicking an empty space within the graph and then selecting create flow state and call it invulnerable. Then create two transitions back and forth between our two states. To create a transition, right click on the starting node, select make transition, and then click on the destination node. Pay close attention to the direction of the arrows. So create flow state, okay? Let's go back to our very first graph here. What's interesting is this one does... It's labeled as start. How do I change that? Oh, that's where I got to change the name, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, hurt state. So vulnerable can be hurt and die. See, we did figure out where we can name it. Alright, invulnerable. Unable to be hurt. After hit. Let's just be real specific. And select right click on the starting node and create make transition. Transition. Ooh, wild. Okay. This is, I need to make this one go back up here. Right? Nope. Not right. Okay. So this is actually, come on thing. Let me move you. Baby. Hmm. Okay, so no matter what, it looks like I can't exactly adjust that either. Does that suddenly resemble what we want? Or is that going to revert? Oh, it is. Guess I'm okay with that. Let's just go with that. Going from vulnerable to invulnerable. Start on this one. Custom event. So custom event get hurt. Hurt. I hurt myself today just to see how it would feel. I'm a beautiful singer. I'm such a beautiful singer that our 3-year-old boy asks me anytime I'm singing what I'm doing, and then I say I'm singing, and he says, "Please stop." And if I hum, he covers his ears. He's an absolute sweetheart. Ignore that cuteness. He's such a dork. Okay. So before exiting the invulnerable state, we want to make a small delay. Open the transition from invulnerable to vulnerable and connect it to an on interstate and wait per second pair event under time with a delay of 1. Okay. On interstate, wait 1. Estate, enter, on state, enter, on interstate. Okay, delay, wait, and wait 4 seconds, 1. Okay. So it's saying if I get hurt, give it a second before I can be hurt again. Finally, we have to implement invulnerability. We use a simple Unity trick for this. When the player becomes invulnerable, we change its layer from player to player invincible, because this layer is set to not collide with the enemies in the collision matrix. It will keep the player from being hit by enemies once we implement them later on. Okay, so it's going to change player layer whenever you get hit. We need to make some changes to our layer collision matrix. This is a matrix grid of all layers within Unity which governs the interaction between layers. A tick box means that interaction is enabled, whereas the lack of a tick means the opposite. Okay. This is interesting how they're doing this. I mean, we're ticking off projectiles, enemies. Not seeing projectiles, that's unfortunate. That has me a little concerned. So projectiles, enemies. I think it's maybe because we haven't set up the enemy stuff yet, so it may not include that. When we enter the invulnerable state, the player's layer should switch to player invincible. When we exit the invulnerable state, it should change back to player. Double-click the invulnerable state in our graph. We'll use the on-enter state and on-exit state events to achieve our desired effect. But you can delete the update event. Okay, so we're going to click on invulnerable state in our graph. We can delete on update event. Update event happens every frame. Hence why we don't need it, because we don't need to check every... We're going to be changing this state when an event triggers. We're not going to check every frame of the game to see if the player's hurt or not. Okay, layer mask, name to layer. Set layer self. Okay. To layer. Layer invincible. So, and then set layer mask. No, that's not right. What is it? Game object set layer. Oh, okay. All right. And then on exit state, we're going to say, I think it's just to say player. Yep. That's saying that when the player enters the state, aka when the hurt event gets triggered, on enter state he will change his layer to player invincible, which means enemies can no longer hurt him, and projectiles, which unfortunately I'm not seeing projectiles. I wonder what are the spikes set to? Layer default. Okay, so that's a problem. That's probably something I hope we fix in the next chapter. If not, I have a solution to fix it. Anyways, hope the tutorial's not. I bet the tutorial's not broken. It's not been broken so far, but you never know. You never know. That's it for invulnerability. Now that playing with the health value in the inspector right now will not trigger the hurt or death events in the player health machine, because we're directly changing the value instead of using our damage event. In the next row, we'll create enemies that call damage on collision with the player and enable us to fully test our health mechanic. Get more XP. Teeny bit of XP. Stars, I love it. Okay. So we got enemies and AI. Projectile attack. Yeah, see, we haven't added some of the stuff. Pause menu. Yeah, and we need to set spikes to actually hurt you. So there was some things missing from those layers. We'll probably learn to create a layer here. But for now, I think that's going to conclude for today. Thank you guys so much for being here on Hard Drive 32. It's going to be a long journey, but I'm so happy that you're here. Or if you're discovering this now, thank you. Feel free to jump on Hard Drive 32 on either YouTube or Instagram to see the latest updates, when I'm going to stream, where I'm in the game, new art, what have you. And have a wonderful day, and I'll catch up with you